you're willing to do a political podcast, let me know. Be 20 minutes at tops.
Let me think. Let me think about it. Let me think. I'm a social commentary, but let me think about it.
Yeah.
I have to bite my tongue on both of them, but it might be fun too.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I can keep you in line.
Yeah, just keep it with gambling.
Right. Just purely betting standpoint, nonpartisan.
Yes.
Thank you for watching and listening to the ESBC podcast network. We're going to get just phenomenal content we got lined up. We've done so well that this is a bonus podcast, but every single podcast is a business meeting with a specific purpose and a specific outcome. One of the main purposes is to make money and to do it on 3 levels. Make you actionable money today. Like we'll talk about Thursday night football, so we'll get it out before Thursday night football. In the midterm and in the long term, right? Making money and processes making money. This is a collaborative effort, so we have a nationwide network. And sports betting it's a very collaborative part where you share information. You share information for the common good. And a lot of times you do it with complete strangers, but we all have the same mentality and the same willingness to help each other. So that's one of the purposes, to share information, to make money, to share strategies of making money, anticipating the outcome of sporting events. And what has been the outcome? The outcome has been that I have Mr. William Will, right? Author. He has the Yellow Pinto book. But much more than that, he's kind enough and willing, he has a willingness to share information to make our lives better. And then he wants you to share information with him because life is a two-way street. And the outcome has been that he's 21-6 sharing his insights on the outcome of NFL football games. So that means that there's some listeners who have shared they bet $50,000 a game. But if you bet $1,000 a game, so 21 times 950 is $19,000 minus $6,000. Listening to what Mr. Will has said has made you $13,950 that you did not have before. You say, Josh, I don't have $1,000 to bet. Well, if you had $100 to bet, which you should, this is America, the richest country in the world, you would have made $1,300, right? And if you bet $10, you would have 10. Now joining us will be Coach Chad Nolan. And Chad, what he wants is the Thursday night football. So those are the purposes. Single podcast is a business meeting with a purpose and an outcome. So that has been the outcome. All right. How's it going, Coach?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Very, very, very good. We have William Will here, author of the Yellow Pinto. And on his picks, Chad, he's been 21-6, 77%, 52.5% is break even, 59% you can live in Vegas. He's at 77%, which is elite, man.
Yep, nice to meet you, bro. Your name's Walter?
B. Walter Will, yeah. But I have a book called The Yellow Pinto. It's out. It's doing very well. It's available everywhere: Amazon, Barnes and Noble, even Walmart. All the bookshops, wherever you want to go. It just came out a few months ago. We're doing book signings everywhere. It's doing very well.
And what's the book about?
It's a little bit this is a gambling podcast, but if you like the movie or the television series Shameless, it's a lot like Shameless.
I watched every episode. Yeah,
but there's a lot of gambling episodes that are in it. There's a lot of gaming stories that take place during it, and it's the relationship with my dad and my family, and plenty of ex-girlfriends and because of the gambling. So I think we can all relate. That now
Right.
years past, we've had some choices to make and probably not made the best ones. At least I did it, anyways.
We all have it, but Chad, in the top 10 rules of betting, I talk about an epic run, the 2011 NCAAs, but Chad and I had an epic run. We bet single NCAA game, man. We were up like 80% for the whole tournament. So I have a witness. When I say that, most people believe it. They're like, this guy's so full of shit, but I have a witness, coach, right?
We've had a couple good runs for sure.
All right, so for you, we're going to break down before we get into Mr. Wells' 5 games. We'll break down Thursday night football. You got alien quarterback. For me, in my mind, because I'm so old, he's Joe Namath to me, right? Won one Super Bowl. It hasn't done. He's a great quarterback, but he hasn't really done anything else, right? He's always played in a weak division with the Lions in Chicago. And now tonight he's going against CJ Stroud. And to be honest, as I always am, I have to be a fiduciary. Vegas is trying to take advantage of people with this line. The Texans should be favored.
Yeah.
They're getting a guy coming off of an injury. They're better at rushing the ball. They're better at stopping the run. CJ Stroud is a sharp, good quarterback. I always think about what quarterbacks do in big games in college, right? Because in my whole lifetime, it has translated into how they're going to perform in the NFL from Vinny Testaverde on down. So that has translated to the NFL. The Jets lost to the Patriots would have the worst roster in the NFL. They really don't have a coach now, right? They got rid of the coach. The defensive coordinator is embarrassed losing to the worst team in the NFL. I think the wrong team is favored. So +3, maybe they don't win. Maybe it's a 21-19 game, but I believe the Texans are going to cover, and it's going to be under 43. What do you think, Mr. Will? I'll be right back.
This was a very tough game for me to analyze. You think the Jets are due for a breakout game. You think Rodgers is due for a breakout game. The Jets are favored for a reason. I think Josh is onto something, meaning that Vegas is this is a trick line. I think a lot of people might vote Houston or might go with Houston because they think that Houston should be favored. I don't know how good Houston is. I know how good CJ Stroud is. I'm leaving the game alone. I'm leaving the total alone too. But I hate. I'm not going to give you a lean. I might even take a stand on this game. I'm actually going to say I like the over in this game. I don't like the side. I like the over in this game.
The total's right around 42, right?
Yeah, I like the over.
I think score of an NFL game is 45.
So,
right.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth too on this one, man. This game is you kind of think the Jets are due for some kind of return to the mean, maybe with Aaron Rodgers and what you expected them to be there, but with them getting rid of that head coach, just I know that the Texans got a few receivers that are out or they're getting some guys back, so I know that that kind of scares me. I definitely would probably lean over just with the defenses here, but I think I'm going to agree with Josh on the Texans. Texans to win it. They are the probably the better team here. They're a 6-2 ball club. You got a great young quarterback in CJ Stroud. And I'm a big quarterback betting guy. I really like to fade bad quarterbacks and really bad good quarterbacks. As far as that, so I do think. I think the line is tricky though. I think the line, the Vegas trick has kind of been sucking me into the Jets. But I think the more, throughout earlier in the day, I'm like, oh man, but And also too, I know the Texans is a very like public play. Like I've seen stuff that's saying, but then it's like how much of that is also true information that's not there to influence us. Like we don't know all the money in offshore books and where all the money truly is. It's not regulated like the stock market where we get true numbers on like where the
Exactly,
public bet
exactly.
is.
We were just
But
discussing that.
yeah,
Exactly.
the tabloids and the websites and stuff telling us money's on Texans and the Texans are a public bet. But I'm just gonna kind of go with my gut here, and I'm gonna take the Texans. With the points, I might even I'll probably sprinkle the money line a little bit too. With the line being so short, but that's what I'm doing.
Chad and Josh, last week, everybody does know this. The books got buried last week. I mean, they absolutely got buried last week. And we don't ever feel sorry for the books, but
Right.
they're going to sharpen their pencils here pretty soon to where they're going to get some of that money back. And, I don't know if it's this game or it's another game they have up their sleeves.
It's a Thursday night game, right? So many people are betting the standalone game, the World Series
Yeah.
is over. They want to trick you into betting the wrong team.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And that's why I don't have an opinion in the game. I wish you guys the best. I think I think I do like the over though. There's a lot of opportunities for short week. Defenses aren't as prepared. Maybe it goes way under. Who the hell knows? But I do like the over in this game. Both they're both pretty competent quarterbacks. Rodgers might be due to have a halfway decent game. And CJ Stroud's awfully good. So 42 seems kind of low to me. I'll just take the over and watch it.
Right. All right. So that's, man, we always give the best information out there especially for those watching live, man. You got it. So cutting it close for Thursday night. So we're just going to go with a full podcast, and people watching live, man, you got a bonus. And people watching the podcast or listening to the podcast at a later date, what's important is the whys, the underlying evidence versus the actual pick. All right, Chad. So we're going to go through 5 games, and then I'm going to do the full podcast later, probably later tonight or tomorrow morning, and I'll go through every game in detail. But we're going to go through 5 games that Mr. Will has pointed out since he has a high percentage. First game we're going to look at is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles. We got the Eagles minus the 7 points. Eagles minus 7.5. So it's now moved to 7.5 across the board. And the total in that game is 46.5. What are you thinking, Mr. Will?
I have some general rules I hate breaking, okay? And I'm going to break a few of them this week. I hate betting on bad teams, and I hate betting on teams that can't score. And I won't bet on a team that can't score. I just won't do it.
Right.
The Jacksonville can score, and Philadelphia's defense has shown a propensity to give up a lot of points at times. Doug Peterson goes back to Philadelphia. Jacksonville, they played an improved game last week. They weren't great, but they played an improved game. They're not necessarily even out of this division because really Houston's had some close games. Indianapolis is 4-4. They can get up to 3 wins here. They've had a couple of close losses. I would buy up to 8 here at 7.5. I'd buy up to 8, but I like Jacksonville. They scored too many points to be getting 8 points. I think even if they get beat up a little bit, they can backdoor cover. So I like Jacksonville quite a bit in this game.
I kind of like it. And Coach, you can bet NFL, you can't bet college, right? Per NCAAs. But you can, my question, man, about the trajectory of the season and styles making fights. And you got a team like the Eagles, who's a run-centric team. They get a lead on Jacksonville, especially at halftime. The second half, they're going to run with their quarterback. And they want to shorten the game, have it in half. And that leads to a backdoor cover, and that leads to covering the +8, right, over a key number. What do you think, Chad?
Yeah, no, I'm with it. I like I like Jacksonville here. I think I took them here. I took them here 2 weeks ago in their second London game. They're a good big
Right.
winner for me. I do think they're like, I agree with Walter Will what he's saying about them kind of playing better ball last week. Came out to cover that second half line last week. So yeah, I'm on the Jags here.
And what Mr. Will has said has gotten in my head when I've been picking games, and I've been like 100% using Mr. Will's strategy about not betting teams who can't score. You know, and it gets into you in certain situations of what's going to go down, right? Especially with the total. So yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars look good, and when I do my podcast, that's probably going to be my pick. Most likely, it's going to be my pick. I think it is going to be my pick because it's past that key number. It's past that key number, and the way the Eagles like to play, they just want to win the game. They don't want to cover the spread. All right.
Yeah. Hey guys, unfortunately, I got to hop off. Hey,
All right, no,
Walter,
talk, man. Perfect.
pleasure to meet you. Good to see you, Josh.
All right, good to hear from you, Chad.
Yep, later.
All right. Got the insight from Coach. Coach gives a lot of insight. The
Right.
4-2-5 defense, the 3-2-5 defense. Dolphins at Bills. Too much faith in Tua, right? Too much faith in Tua at Bills. Bills -6. What do you think, Walter Will?
I'm definitely going to stick with the Buffalo Bills here. They're a better team. I have not been impressed. I've made nothing but money betting against the Dolphins this year. I think I picked against them 4 times and been right all 4 times. I don't believe in the Dolphins. I don't think they're very good. They have a hard time scoring. I think Tua is tentative now. I don't think they're automatically a better team because he's back on it, because he is tentative. He has several concussions. They're not gonna. He can't roll out. Everybody knows that he can't roll out. He's not a great pocket quarterback. He's not a bad one, but he's not a great one. We know Buffalo can score.
Right.
We don't know that Miami can score because they've barely scored any points this whole year.
Their offensive line sucks, and I'm glad that I try to put it on mute or whatever, but don't people just get in their head that, wait a second, every single quarterback you have has gotten hurt because your offensive line sucks. All right, from Tua to Henley to Huntley to Skylar Thompson, and those are mobile quarterbacks, mobile QBs. So
here's the thing.
And Buffalo's been lights out lately. Like they've given up 10 points of the last 2 opponents. All right,
they look focused, and the other thing is, let's say Buffalo does get up at a decent margin in this game. Say it's 24-10, and then you're afraid of the backdoor cover, or 21-10, whatever it is.
Right.
You don't see Tua sacrificing himself out there to get hurt again. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's not going to go lay it out with 1:30 to go when they're losing by 11. He's just not going to do it. You're playing with a fragile instrument there. I admire him for coming back. I admire him for trying to honor his contract. I wish there was more of him like that in sports. But at the end of the day, you got a guy who's a very young man with several concussions. It's almost foolish that he's playing in a way.
If I knew him personally, if it was in my personal life, I would not let him play. If he was a family member or somebody like that, I wouldn't let the guy play.
He's a warrior. He wants to play.
You got enough money to live for the rest of your life. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big. I like Buffalo. They're a better team. Better teams. They're just a better team, and I think they're better coached. I'm not a big. Everybody loves the Dolphins coach like he's some genius or some disciple. Look at it. I don't buy it. I'm not that impressed. Give me Buffalo in this game.
And that guy, McDaniels, he graduated from Harvard, from that Shanahan Gruden Mafia. It's just plug and play with those guys, right? And some are better than others. Your LaFleur, McVays, but they all get together, have those Renaissance weekends, run the same offense. But they obviously, they do not have the same players. obviously.
They don't
So
have 5 Hall of Famers on their team. No, they don't.
yeah,
And they, by the way, they also have a very ticked off Tyreek Hill. He's not exactly super pleased to be in Miami right now. He's feeling a little slighted. He's feeling a little underused. This isn't what he signed up for, is to be playing for 12 football, 15, 13 football games.
right.
This is not his, and play with an injured quarterback. Uh, he's a highly paid athlete. He's a great athlete, great wide receiver. This is one of those kind of games where if it gets ugly early, you may be looking for some phone calls coming Miami's way to see if they want to get rid of Tyreek Hill this
Right.
quickly. I wouldn't be.
Right.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't.
It wouldn't surprise me. And that Seattle game where Skylar Thompson got hurt, uh, that showed me a lot about Tyreek Hill's character, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Uh, when you grow up, even people with privilege, right? Some people with privilege, their parents make them work regular jobs, so they
Absolutely.
get work. Yeah, so they get work ethic. So anybody who learns work ethic, when Skylar Hill is rolling out, I'm showing this tape for a reason. We're gonna look at the next game because it's dominating college and pro football. And to bet on games, you have to learn what I'm going to show in the next one. But Skylar Thompson rolls out to the right in Tyreek Hill, because it isn't Tua, isn't hustling on the play. So when there's a scramble play, coach will tell you that guys who are running a route in go deep, and guys who are going deep come back to the ball. And Tyreek Hill was supposed to go across and come back to the ball, and he didn't. You sit there, laziness. It's like, what? You're making all these millions of dollars, and your job is to run. And you got a backup quarterback. You need to help this guy out. And he didn't. He just stopped on the play, quit on the play. You know? And then defense play lights out, but they've been on the field too long, and they see that. They're like, why am I sacrificing my body when this guy's quitting on play? Now he isn't quitting because Tua's there. It's still bad. He's a malcontent, right? And that's why Andy Reid got rid of him. I wouldn't have him on my team. Next game we're going to look at is going to be your Lord Commanders against the Giants. So this is going to be big in this game. This guy can do it. Daniel Jones can't. All right. Yeah. Simple play. They're doing air raid. So the quarterback reads the play with the wide receiver. So right here, let's stop it. Let's stop it. We're going to go back and stop it. All right. All right. So right here, it's called +1. So if a quarterback can make 3 first downs with his legs, that team will win 70% of the time. And most defensive coordinators say, okay, what am I going to give up? And Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll won 8 Super Bowls combined and then 3 national titles. So that's 11 titles, saying that the quarterback can't beat you. So just let the quarterback run go. But no teams won a title with that, because Mahomes is a pretty good drop back passer. He doesn't just run. Jalen Hurts came close, but nobody's ever won a Super Bowl with that. So what it is there's more blockers than tacklers. So he's reading the line, reading the front. If he sees 4 or less, 5 or less, he's going to run. If there's 5 to 7 in that front, he's going to throw, right? And if they're playing zone, the receivers go across. If they're playing man, the receivers go deep. All right, so let's run this play. And let's count. Let's do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're playing maybe a 4-3. This is a defensive back. So maybe this totally is a defensive back. So that's a 4-2-5 versus a 3-3-5, which coach runs. So this is a 4-2-5 defense. The Mike Lamb linebacker, he's in charge of the quarterback run, right? You see him looking right at him. So we're going to go. Let's run the tape. Boom. He sees who it is, boom, he goes outside. Got 98, bam. That's your quarterback run. He can do that. Daniel Jones can't. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl doing that. You can win a particular game doing that. In this particular game, we got the Lord Commanders at the Giants after the Yankees lost the Super Bowl. That tells me the Giants are going to get the call. And Washington basically lost last week. They won on a Hail Mary. What do you think, Walter Will?
Well, so far on your podcast, I'm 21-6 this year.
Yes,
Two of
sir.
two of the losses have been I've been on the Giants. Okay,
Right.
so here we go again. They're getting 4 points. All right, against the Washington Commanders. I absolutely love the Giants this week. They should have beat them the first time they played.
Okay,
The
revenge
Giants played a
game.
hell of a game last week, and they somehow
Right.
figured out a way to kick more field goals or kick more times than any team in the English Premier Soccer League or football
Right.
league.
Right.
Please, for the love of God, inside the 20, score at least one touchdown out of 5, and they should cover this week. I love Washington, and I'm sorry, I love the Giants this week. It's one of it. I won't say it's my best play. I hate saying what the best play is because I bet everything pretty much the same amount,
Right.
unless betting strategies. We talk about betting strategies all the time. If you're up good for the week and you've had a very good week and you love the late game, sometimes you press a little bit more so you can make a little bit more money. Sometimes if you're down a little bit for the week and you love the late game, you can press a little bit more. You don't
Right.
have to. It's not it's not what you bet or who you bet. It's how you bet. And
Exactly.
and betting strategies are very important. But the Giants are a team. If I find myself having a good afternoon, I may lick my chops and throw a little bit more on them. I love the Giants +4. I would actually buy up to 4.5 to get that hook.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love the Giants. I love the Giants against Washington this week. I really do.
Right. And everybody's been in Washington because Washington has that record. But Kingsbury always wins early, loses late, even from his days at Texas Tech. And it's the same type deal. And I think that, Chicago caught up to that offense, which is simple. I just explained it. I just explained to you the whole Washington offense in 2 minutes.
Well, you're right, and look at that. It was a low-scoring game last week against Chicago. Chicago's defense isn't that great. They won on a
Yeah.
Hail Mary. It was an emotional win, but
Right.
it was a 9-0 game.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
come on, Giants, please. Okay, so I like the Giants this week.
All right. The Giants, the ants, as I like to call them, -3. You got the Patriots at the Titans. Patriots coming up for a big win, but physical win. Revenge game, playing the Titans. Titans are a physical running football team with the Callahans. There's 2 big football mafias, 3 big football mafias. You have the Andy Reid football mafia. You have the Harbaugh brothers football mafia, and you have the Parcells, Bill Belichick, Nick Satan football mafia, and they call them mafias because they all hire each other. They're all incestuous. They're all nepotism. Only the guys from the mafia are the guys you hire, and they all train a certain way from high school all the way through college. This game is big because the Callahans run Tennessee. Brian Callahan is the head coach, offensive coordinator. Every single team he's ever been on eventually gets to the playoffs or Super Bowl. The dad, Bill Callahan, used to be head coach for Nebraska Cornhuskers, and who was the starting quarterback? Zach Taylor, your head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. So obviously, this is the Gruden Mafia, and they like to run the ball, and they're establishing the running game. That's only why they only score in the first half. The other teams figure out, okay, all they're going to do is run it. But they're going against the Patriots, and the Patriots have the worst roster in the NFL. I mean, as far as talent is concerned, they're all good. All these players are good. Marginal utility, we go to that. Have it in the top 10 rules of betting. What's your thoughts on this game, Mr. Will?
I'm going to unbelievably take. These are 2 bad teams that we shouldn't be betting on, really.
Right. It's going to be if you have trouble
But-
sleeping, watch this game. You'll be asleep by the second quarter.
Here's the deal: the Titans are 2.5 point favorites.
Right.
There'll probably be some more late money coming out of New England because people can't believe it. I would buy down to 1.5, obviously. Um, and I would suggest buying a half a point or a point. Believe me, you pay a little bit extra for it, but you're going to thank yourself in the NFL for doing it. College, not so much. NFL, you have to
Yep.
do it. If you don't, you'll kill yourself.
Right.
I like Tennessee, and I'll tell you why. They got beat up by the Lions last week. The Lions are, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL, other than Kansas City,
Yes.
until proven otherwise, right? And
Yeah, no, they've improved their run. They can now stop the run.
they move
And
the ball.
and their defense isn't so bad, right? That the 49ers can come back on you. After you're
And
hit by a ton
and
of points.
Tennessee's taken some tough beats, and they're due for a breakout game. And why not against New England?
Right.
Um, Drake Mays, I think he's questionable for the game. I don't know if he's playing or not. I think they're going with Brissett because I think he is out for the game. But even if
Right.
he plays, you're not going to risk your rookie quarterback on getting hurt for the season or anything like that. Give me Tennessee in this game. They're at home. They come home. They should. I don't know if it's an easy win, but I see a comfortable 18-7, 23-12 type of game. I like Tennessee in this game quite a bit.
Tennessee Titans -3 against the worst roster in the NFL, the New England Patriots. Why? Because Bill, you got to look. I use fundamental analysis. And there's two ways to invest: technical analysis and fundamental analysis. Nobody's ever gotten rich using technical analysis. They've gotten rich selling technical analysis, which they do on CNBC Bloomberg. That's why they're selling it to you. Organic, word of mouth is fundamental analysis, and those are the super rich people, right? Not the technical analysis people. That's why they're selling it to you. Biggest part of fundamental analysis is who's your Elon Musk, who's calling your shots, who's the CEO, what's your corporate governance, what's your culture, blah, 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 right? So the Patriots had Bill Belichick, who now Kraft regrets giving him so much power because he's a great defensive coordinator, but he's a horrible offensive coordinator, which he never should dabble in the offense. He's a horrible head of scouting. He's a horrible vice president, and he's a horrible judge of offensive line talent. That's why the offensive lines always suck, and Brady had to use a 3-step drop. All right, so that's why the roster sucks so bad, and we're betting against them -3 with the Titans in the Callahan family running that. Then you have Jerry Jones, worth $23 billion because of the oil refineries and the deal he made with Germany when Russia invaded Ukraine. Jerry Jones made the deal with Germany to send them oil. Now he's worth $23 billion. I think he's literally trying to buy the whole NFL. Half the teams in the NFL, Jerry Jones owns 20% or more. He has the cash to buy them all out. Goodell's still alive, not letting him. They're going to the Atlanta Falcons. He's the general manager of the Cowboys. Going to Raheem Morris. Used to come to my restaurant, didn't say much, but he did spend a lot. Tip well. He's extremely intelligent, but he can't network. So to build his staff, Rich McKay from Tampa, that was with him in Tampa, uses his network to build the staff. He's mimicking McVay to build the culture because he's kind of an ogre type of rock Versailles guy, but a good defensive mind at home with Kirk Cousins. What do you think, Mr. Well?
I think Dallas might get over the hump here. I like the Cowboys plus the 3. I'd buy the 3.5, obviously, but I like the Cowboys here. The Cowboys didn't play a great game last week. They haven't played a great game in quite a few weeks, quite frankly.
Right.
They showed a little fight at the end. The Falcons, they're one of these teams that could be 3-5 just as easily as they're 5-3. They're not overwhelming. I think Dallas should be able to move the ball, score some points because Dallas can score, and it's going to be a close game. But give me the points in this game. Dallas needs the game. I don't like to bet on teams who must win or have to win. Half the win means you usually loses, but in this instance, the Falcons come off an emotional victory against Tampa Bay. They have a tie-break 2-game lead in the 1-game lead, but it was a tiebreaker 2-game in the Central there in the NFC. I don't know. To me, this is it for the Cowboys. They either win this game and play halfway decent, or they're probably going to be an automatic bet against the rest of the season in every game. They might tank it.
Right. No, I agree. In a way, I kind of feel the Titans are tanking, but they're at home, and the Patriots are tanking. So that game would be like a game battle to the bottom. But you say, well, England won last week. Yeah, but it was a division game. Division games are different because they play each other twice a year. There's grudges involved. There's emotions involved, right? Nobody likes to lose to the same people twice within a year. And Raheem Morris, I told you about him. He's a Muslim guy, like Robert Saleh. Kind of interesting. Both Robert Saleh and him had the same problem. They're Muslim, and I'm making no determination. I don't care what religion you are, whatever. I'm just saying, what are the factors that are affecting my wager on a game and your corporate strategy, your culture, your leadership style, right? So he's also Muslim, like Robert Saleh, and also doesn't like to talk to people. Also had to have other people fill out your staff because you hadn't built a network, a business network, right? And Raheem Morris, in his rigid thinking in the Tampa Bay broadcast team, and I put it on mute. I don't listen to the national guys, but certain local people that I know have a journalism approach to it, who are neutral arbiters who call balls and strikes, made the determination that Raheem Morris puts an enormous amount of uh, value on division games. And I bet I made a wrong wager on Raheem Morris in a non-division game at home where they only had half a game plan. So going along the lines of Walter Will, I think they're going to have a half a game plan here. And again, getting points with Dallas. So a 21-19 game, we still win. We're still cashing our ticket. So I'm agreeing with Walter Will on that.
That's how I see it. I mean, those are the games I like this week.
All right. That's awesome. That's some really good stuff. And today, being this bonus episode, we're not just giving you NFL. Now, I've had a streak. I've done the Triple Crown races the last 4 years, and I'm 11-1, giving you a winner on the podcast. Now I have somebody who knows a lot more about horse racing than I do, and it's in beautiful Del Mar, Florida.
No, Del Mar, California, San Diego.
Del Mar, California. I don't know why that had Florida in my head. Del Mar, California.
Because you love the second half Florida lines. That's why.
That's what they think. Probably was in my head.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna love them too until they get sketches onto it. I can't. Maybe they have. I don't think enough people have caught onto it yet. But the Breeders' Cup. The Breeders' Cup's coming up, and see, like the Triple Crown races, I can study and have an opinion because it's out there, right? Breeders' Cup is more for the professionals, people who know what they're doing, like Mr. Will, right? So for us, it's huge advantage and huge fortune we have Mr. Will giving us some insight on a few races. And I'd like to ask you a question before we get going. Is it true that when you're picking races, I know you have a lot, but as a baseline, it's better to pick the jockeys and the trainers versus picking the actual horse, or all of the above?
You know, that's a tough question. What it comes down to is there's certain combinations of trainers that use jockeys that win at a higher percentage than an arbitrary racehorse. So if a certain trainer has a certain jockey that he uses, chances are that horse is live, meaning he has a better than average chance to win.
Right.
So a lot of people look for that edge, and horse players know who they are for the most part. What happens is they get overplayed a lot of the time. Now,
Right.
the difference between horse race gambling and sports gambling is when you're betting sports, you're betting against the book. Okay, you're betting.
Right.
You're not betting against the public. You're betting against the book. The book puts out a number. The book, that's the number, and you're betting against the book. In horse racing, I'm betting against you and everybody else, meaning you all can think that the Cowboys are going to win. Okay,
Right.
I think that, say, the Falcons are going to win this week, but my odds wouldn't be Falcons +6. My odds would be Falcons 95-1, meaning 95% of you people are betting that
Right.
way, 5% bet this way. So I'm getting a 95-1 payout. So horse racing becomes a very lucrative and attractive gamble because you're betting against people that play favorites all the time.
Right.
Favorites win at less than 30% rate of the time. And
Right.
you can throw out a favorite. It's a gigantic edge to have handicapping horses. I tend to look at races where I think favorites are vulnerable, or one of the favorites are vulnerable, and I try to make a play against it and hope I'm right. Okay, now this weekend, like the Kentucky Derby, that you said that you bet the Kentucky Derby,
Right.
anything can happen. You could have you could have a girl, your daughter, your mom, your niece, your aunt,
Right.
doesn't matter who it is. They can
Right.
pick a horse, and that horse has a good chance to win because these are all the best horses in the world coming here to run for a lot of money. Okay, we're gonna concentrate on two races: the $5 million turf race and a $7 million Breeders' Cup Classic race. They're each one race is for $5 million on the turf. One's
Okay.
for 7 million on the dirt, and they involve horses from Europe, Japan, South Africa, the United States, basically all over the world, Australia, wherever they want to come from,
Right.
who qualifies to be here. There's two races that those are the two races that I honed in on, and I like a horse in the turf race quite a bit. In the turf race, it's a $5 million race. The favorite is going to be a horse called Rebel's Romance, who's 5-2. He's trained by a guy named Charles Appleby, who's a tremendous trainer. He wins a lot of the time over here in America. I think being on the outside that he has a little bit of a vulnerability not to win this race this weekend. And I'm going to take a stand against him with a horse named JRB, JAYAREB, JRB,
Okay.
with a trainer named Brian Meehan. And I'm going to put him in a trifecta and a superfecta and exacta boxes with the numbers 2, 3, 4, and 11.
2, 3, 4, and 11.
Yeah, he's the 5 horse. And look, if you can knock out one of these horses, and I'm going to use those 5 horses in my pick 5, which is a different bet when you string together 3 or 4 races in a row.
Right.
You use horses and throw out horses for an aggregate bet. It's a lot different than betting parlays in sports.
Right.
Not to make things complicated, but you're trying to beat the favorite, and you look for vulnerable favorites. So I'm going to try to beat him with the 5 horse JRB in the $5 million turf race.
Got it.
At Del Mar. That's Saturday. The other
So
race
that would be, from what I see, and let me see if I'm right. It's going to be a 2:01 Pacific time.
2-1 Pacific time, yes. And then the next race, so this way you can roll doubles, or you can play pick 3s or pick 4s or pick 5s off of them. One of the favorites is a horse called Fierceness. He's the 9 horse. He has a big chance. He has a chance to win, but I think that I can beat him. And I'm going to key a horse is a big long shot. His name is Sierra Leone. He's the 11 horse. He almost won the Kentucky Derby, but he went very hard. He got bumped around a bunch of times. He he's a boondock closer, which means he comes from way out of it. He needs everything to go his way, but we're hoping that enough speed sets up for him that he can come and beat Fierceness. The other horses I'm going to use with them heavily in an exacta box and try box are the one horse Forever Young and the hold on here. I got it here. The one horse Forever Young and the 3-horse City of Troy. City of Troy is from Europe. He's from a very classy barn. They've never won this race before, but they've come close a couple times. So I'm going to key Forever Young, City of Troy, and Sierra Leone, and then I'm going to put. It's basically I'm going to key the 1, 3, and 11 with the 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. That'll be my trifecta and superfecta keys and tries for the classic race at $7 million. So it'll be 1, 3, 11 with the 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. Hoping that we can hit a home run in one of the 2 races.
Nice. All right. For those watching online, I will post these on Twitter. And these are for the Saturday races.
The Saturday races. So the turf race will be the 5 keen, and let's call me exotics with the 2, 3, 4, 11.
There's a 5 race in the second one. What race? What's that?
That's in race number. That is in race number 7.
Okay.
That's a turf race, the $5 million turf race. And then in the $7 million classic race, which is race 8 on Breeders' Cup.
Got it.
Okay. I'm going to key the 1, 3, 11 with the 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. And then the horse I like the most in each race is the 5 in the turf race, in the 7th race, and the 11 in the 8th race, which is the Breeders' Cup Classic race.
Nice. Number 11.
And hope that hope we get lucky with one of them. Horse racing days like this, you can miss on 10 races, hit one of them, and you might make $100,000.
Right.
We've had a lot of good weeks this year. We've had a very, very good year with the horses, and we hope to continue it on days like this where the handle is big, lots of money being bet. It's like Kentucky Derby Day. It's a great day to bet even if you're a novice. You don't need to be an expert.
Right.
Pick your favorite numbers, pick your favorite colors. You're getting a good horse who's got a good chance to win. Don't look at the odds boards. Try to beat the favorites. I'll offer this one last thing. There's going to be a horse who's going to be an overwhelming favorite on this day. I'm really going on a limb here, by the way, by saying this. This is a big limb.
Right.
There's a female race, a horse named Torpedo Anna. She's going to be a gigantic favorite. Okay. I'm going to try to beat her in that race. She's a huge, huge favorite.
I got a story about that horse, believe it or not.
Well, she's run a lot of big races this year.
Right.
And I have a theory about female horses that are hard ridden. I don't mean it like that, but I kind of do mean it like that when a woman. Hard ridden.
That's what she said, right? If you watch
well, she's had a lot of tough races all year. She really hasn't had a break.
She likes to be hard ridden, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that a race she may not. If she's going to fire a clunker, this is it. It's worth trying to take a stand against her in this race. Who knows what I do? I hit the all button or something, or I pick a couple of horses and try to beat her. But I'm gonna chuck her, and hopefully hit something for a gigantic jackpot with her not winning. So that's one of my throwout horses this weekend.
I forgot what race it was. I was watching the races, and my wife's name is Anna, and it was Torpedo Anna. And I asked her, right? She's 17-0 against the spread over a 20-year period with her. She hates sports. but whenever she tells me about something, she's right. And I'm like, which horse should we pick, Torpedo Anna? She's like, go for it. And I was like 5-1, and she won. Right? And, me being who I am, I'll probably go against. Since I won the first time and I don't know nothing of what I'm doing, I will bet against her the next time.
My, my,
Torpedo.
my girlfriend in Vegas gave me the winner of the World Series a couple of years ago. The team was 32-1 at the time, and they won the World Series. Then she gave me a 6-team football parlay
Oh, geez.
based on Vikings versus Cardinals. A Viking beats up a Cardinal, just based on
Right.
this and that. A lion eats a bear type of thing, right? And she hits it. It's like
Right.
that's the kind of thing that there's something to be said about intuitions.
You have an intuition that's it's undefeated.
Yeah, and we have to always, be gambling or playing or handicapping, whatever it is. We have to always remind people: look, play it at your own speed.
Right.
It can be lucrative. You can make a lot of money doing it. That being said, do realize that you will get beat. You will take tough beats. You will have races and games that you should have won.
Right.
And you're gonna lose. The Yankees shouldn't have lost last night, but they did.
They did.
And that's just the nature of doing it, And you want to get value for what you're betting. That the most important thing is getting value for what you bet for. So when you do win something, you have something to show for it. And I love dogs for a reason, underdogs, because paid on underdogs, and most people bet favorites. So Vegas is not built on people betting favorites. They're built on people not betting. They're built on people betting favorites, not underdogs.
Right.
So I will stick to the underdogs for as long as I can keep doing it. So
right, and when you look at totals too, the average person does not want to put money down and then hope that nothing happens in the game. Right? Hope that there's 100 punts and it goes under. No, they want a high flying. That's why NBA, right? College basketball, people love it because they want to see high flying, they want to see scoring, they want to see action. But the value might be on a very boring game.
Well, it's like and people, and I know people, et cetera, et cetera. But the guys that we know, right, who actually make a living and doing stuff in sports that I don't love gambling on, by the way, but baseball and basketball, we know their favorite bet most of the time are first half unders,
right,
or first 5 inning unders. They play the unders. I mean, it's always they're on the underside. They're not on the overside.
No,
because it's like you say, it's hard to say I don't want to watch anybody score in a game. It's hard to believe they're not trying not to score, but you'd be surprised. How they go years and years. That's why your percentages are so correct when you say who wins, break even. These guys are built to hit at 57% because they play unders only.
Right.
We hit sometimes at a higher percentage because we take contradictive sides, but we may have some weeks that are bigger than others. We may go 6-0 or 5-2 for 4 or 5 weeks. You and I both. You had a phenomenal. You had a great week last week.
Right. Yeah. No, I went. To your point, I went 17-7. Then I went 15-13, and the only reason I got profit was because I bet the Kansas City money line, which I was shocked that Kansas City would be a dog, right? So there was a luck factor involved. In my mind, I take that as a losing week, and then I came back last week, went 18-7. Then in the Circa contest, I went 5-0. In Circa, we are 21-15, 55%, looking to improve on that. But to your point, that's the way it goes. Highest level of probability is 80%. You're not going above 80% because at that 20% luck factor, that it's impossible to pierce that.
Over the long haul it is. And I hope this isn't the week, but I may throw in a 1-5 week or a 1-4 week. I mean, I do have Jacksonville Giants, Tennessee. I mean, this could be the week it happens, but I hope I'm wrong. But I mean, I hope I'm right, or what I picked.
No,
It's gonna happen.
That's the thing when you do your research, right? Because number one rule of betting, and we'll close with this: top 10 rules of betting I have on there, and I'll have the link to it on every podcast. Number one rule is never bet your own team. We can go into the reasons why. Number two is always do your research. Do not bet a game blindly. Do your research. You do your research. It's a big difference going 1-4 than going 0-5.
That's exactly
You will
right.
go 0-5 if you don't do your research.
And don't forget number three. Don't forget number three. Don't bet on teams who can't score.
Don't bet on teams who
That is
can't
a golden rule. Let me tell you.
Right. And Bloomberg's newsletter, all it is information. And he's worth $69 billion with a B. We give you a lot of information. We give you actionable information. Right now, the value of Mr. Will's picks on his podcast is $13,000 at this point. The value is going to be increased with the information you got on this podcast. Purpose and outcome. Salesmen think short term, businessmen and women think long term. Long term thinking is higher level thinking. That's why during World War II, during his fireside chats, Winston Churchill said, and it's the truth, for the philosophy that Mr. Will and I have. You can have the other philosophy. These guys live on a side of the hill and they're rich. They don't talk to anybody. Or like I always talked about the heads of Hamas. Not the ones that are dead, but the ones who live in Cyprus were worth 13 billion. They have 20 wives, 15 girlfriends, and they killed a lot of people. And they're going to live healthy, long lives. However, you could be the opposite of them and live a happy, long-lived life. Because when you give one, it's a business proposition, you get 10 back. That's why Winston Churchill said, you make a living from your labor, but you make a life from what you give. I did not steal that from Virgin River, by the way. I read it. I'm an English major. Thank you for listening to